Yep.
Hi everyone. Are we live? Are we on? We're live now. Hot slachel, twagulapu, gulapu, deishad, siaya yep chulep, shanoat seed stats, brialip up atsish talbuchad. Good afternoon to all of you, all my relatives. It's good to see you all. My name is Shanoa and I am Puyallup, and I am a community health worker for the Native Wellness Institute, and I am going to be talking to you all with Jennifer Pirtle here on the Native Wellness Power Hour. Today, we're brought to you many thanks to the Seattle Urban Indian Health Institute, who is sponsoring this week. And the Power Hours, I believe, what did we say? We're on week 60. Hold on, I wrote it down because I knew I was going to forget as soon as everything started rolling. 65. I think we're on week 65. So that's how long that these power hours have been going on every day, Monday through Friday. They started out every 7 days a week and then shifted to 5 days a week. And they started as a way to help us all cope through this pandemic, because we knew that an already traumatized community and healing community, an additional trauma would impact our communities. And so this is a good way for us to go through this together and heal together. So again, my name is Shanoa, and I want to introduce you to my colleague, friend, sister, Jennifer Pirtle. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Shanoa. My name is Jennifer Pirtle. I am enrolled Siletz from here in Oregon. I use she, her pronouns. I am a mother of 5. I am a student full-time at PCC. I am also a community health worker with the Native Wellness Institute with Shanoa, amongst many other roles. So it's a blessing to be here, and I just thank everybody for being here with us.
Cool, thanks, Jennifer. And so we wanted to share with you some of the things that we've been doing. I hope you all can hear me okay, because my sound has like been weird lately for some reason. It just like randomly goes all muffled. And so I'm gonna try to watch the comments if there are any. I don't see any comments yet, so we'll just kind of take it as we go. We wanted to talk to you all about what we're doing as community health workers through this pandemic, and talk to you a little about like some of the vaccines and what is going on, like what's really going on. So hi Rachel. Rachel says hi. So we actually this past Saturday, Jennifer and I were a part of a vaccine effort that was geared towards the Native and Latinx community, and it was a drive-through event. It was a collaboration. It was actually pretty historical. It was like a collaboration with the Future Generations Collaborative, which that's already a collaboration of some of the local Native organizations, and then it was like the county, the city of Wood Village, which, by the way, the mayor of Wood Village was there from beginning to end, and he was like moving truckloads of food boxes, and he was like handing out food boxes like till the very end. It was actually really awesome to see that form of leadership really being a part of the community. So by the end of the day, we did a little selfie picture together or whatever. I'm like, you can't even see me. We were doing the picture together, and because he was wearing, I thought it was really cool because Grand Ron was also a part of that effort, and he was wearing one of their masks, and I believe the artwork was designed by a local artist. who's like nationally recognized. His name is Greg Archuleta. So Masi to Greg Archuleta and the Grand Ronde tribes, the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, for helping to sponsor that event. It was really awesome. It was a lot of work to like set up the tents and you know, we had like little gift bags and stuff, but it was like, it didn't even feel like work to me. I don't know what you thought, Jennifer, but I thought it was pretty cool just to like kind of be in community again and like see people face to face. And like we were all masked up even though we're fully vaccinated, and people were getting their vaccine. It's just like even though, and it was outdoors, it was a very safe way to do it. And I thought, I don't know, I had fun. What about you? What did you think?
Yeah, it was a blast. My face got really burnt though. Like it was my first mass sunburn. So I thought that was kind of funny. It was really awesome to see the collaboration with the Latino community and the Native community. As always, I think that this last year, almost year and a half, has brought like a lot of learning opportunities and opportunities to problem solve, and that's what we do, you know. And so the more people that we have as a team to collaborate and just to take care of community, like it was awesome. It was awesome to see. It was funny because like once you started to do something and try to, you know, food boxes or whatever it was, like a whole mass of people would come over, and it was kind of like, I'm doing this. No, I'm just joking. Taking my job here. No, it was really cool to just be part of, you know, like be a small piece of the puzzle of the bigger picture, you know. So yeah, I really enjoyed myself. My forehead's finally healing. I got a
Oh,
little color.
look great. Go. I got one sunburn, like right, it must have been where the sunscreen like ended and the hairline started. It was like one line right here and then a little bit on the back of my neck, because then otherwise, yeah, everything is like covered in the glasses and everything. So that was definitely there'll be some fun tan lines, I guess, in the future coming months. Of, I know people are starting to get back into getting out and going to powwows and stuff. I see a lot of powwows going on, and that's awesome that we're finally getting back to a place where we can start to come back into community and do it safely. I was watching Four Bears, what was that, last weekend or 2 week? No, it was like 2 weekends. It must have been two. I don't remember. I've lost sense of time. But I noticed that some of the dancers were keeping the mask on while they were dancing, and shout out to all the dancers who were doing that, because that is hard work. But you know, it looked like they're really trying to protect elders. And because even though if you're fully vaccinated, there's a very, very, very small chance that you could still have it and pass it to someone else. And I guess that's what we wanted to talk about today too, was that if like the vaccine efficacy is really, really good, especially the mRNA vaccine. So that's the Moderna and the Pfizer, the 2-shot series. Those are the most effective ones. And the most recent study that came out from the CDC, which was, they had a press release last month, excuse me, not last month, last week, June 7th. And the vaccine makes illness milder and shorter for people who are fully vaccinated. And fully vaccinated doesn't mean just past the two shots. It's 2 weeks past the 2 shots. So you're not fully vaccinated until that 2 weeks after your second dose. And it's also really important that you get the second shot frame that your provider or that your provider recommends, because it starts to lose its efficacy if you get your first dose and then you don't get your second dose until like way after, then it starts losing its efficacy. So it's so important that you get both of those shots. And I know it is a challenge. I know that of a lot of folks that I've talked to just don't like needles in general and don't like medicine and don't and you know, and there's so much mistrust, understandably, especially within the Native community. You know, I think we all have examples within our own family of either some sort of experimentation or a family history of like misdiagnosis or mistreatment, racism, for sterilization. I think we all have a lot of those stories within our families and communities, and so I understand that fear of the vaccine, but I do want to reassure folks that it is safe, it's effective. I got it. I haven't. Just checking. I haven't turned in. This is metal. Making sure I'm not magnetized. I'm good. I'm good. and and yeah, and I think that it's just so important that we get those vaccinated, excuse me, if we can, because otherwise we're just going to be in this for much longer. And there are a lot of folks, I have no idea the percentages because I'm not a statistician, but there are a number of folks who are not able to get the vaccine. You know, for example, folks who have very compromised immune systems, or folks who are getting certain medical treatments, folks who are allergic to some of the components in the vaccine aren't able to get it. And so in order for us to protect them, I think it's so important to for us to be able to get it, as well as to protect our elders, because there are some cases. Have you heard of the I was gonna say breakthrough cases, Jennifer?
After people have been fully vaccinated, yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm getting messages and I didn't turn off my phone, and so let me just turn this off because it's like really distracting. Yes. Um, okay. We're always just working. That's just what a community health worker just does. We just
Always constant notifications. Um, yeah, I think that you touched on it, Shanoa. Like my reasons for getting vaccinated. And I'm going to tell you, like, I'm somebody that has conspiracy theories myself, you know, someone that has total mistrust of the government and agencies and all that, and definitely the healthcare system, right? And we had this conversation months before COVID even hit, because I'm a mom and I have kids, and I have um, this right to take care of my kids, right? And so I had some mistrust around vaccines and all of that, and I had some really good conversations with some of my elders and those who have been around and been through polio and stuff like that, and that's really what helped me to like reevaluate some of my choices. And it's not about like shaming or like trying to convince people or anything like that, because that's never done me any good, especially when it comes to like healthcare providers. I don't know if anyone else has been through that, you know, especially when it comes to around like vaccinating your children, but I have, and that didn't help me. For me, what helps me is like education and having that respectful person in my life, like my elders, like Jolene and Susie, you know, really like talk to me about the benefits. And I know that a lot of people have their beliefs and whatnot. And I think that it's so important to not like be shameful around this vaccine. But on both sides, whether people choose to get it or whether people don't choose to get it, you know, like all we're here for is to just help educate people and to help people make a choice for themselves. You know, everybody has that right, and that's why it's important. That's why I got my vaccine, is because like I am healthy, I'm young enough, I'm able to, and people say they want to get back, you know, to normal. I don't know what normal was, if that was working for us, but you know, like we miss people too, and we're ready to get back out in community.
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, I should say. Definitely. I feel like I think you're absolutely right about like not shame, there no shame and blame and like whatever choices that people have. And you know, it's just with absolute like love and respect that I ask folks to get vaccinated, because we've seen people, you know, it's hit our community so hard. And if you look at, you know, just the numbers of infection and our rates of fatality to this virus are way like so disproportionately high for our communities, especially for folks in their 30s and 40s. And so they this you know, we don't know exactly why. You know, it could be presence of underlying conditions, it could be like a lot of other things. And so this vaccine is the safest, the vaccines are the safest way to protect ourselves. And especially, I think someone mentioned the Delta variant, and the Delta variant, from my understanding, was first identified in India, and it has high components of some of the British variant, which means it's like super contagious, and it also appears to be more um, not lethal. What's the word I'm looking for? Like people have more symptoms or worse symptoms and more severe outcomes. And so it has been appearing in the U.S. all over, and so um, again, like I said about the the mRNA vaccines are very, very helpful in protecting us against that. And I like what one of the elders said in one of our meetings, and he said, you know, and I feel like we've talked about this before, about how our people have always been scientists. We've always used, you know, we've observed, and you know, that's why we knew when you know, other parts of the world, people thought that the planet was, you know, this flat space, and our people knew that we lived on a round planet. We were living in the, you know, amongst the stars, and you know, we've always had medicines, we've always had all of these things to take care of each other. And we've always, I mean, as far as I have ever learned and been told, that we've always had ways of healing each other. And so science is just kind of a way that, you know, the scientific research is kind of just a way to help with that. And yeah, and if you can, if it's comfortable to continue to wear a mask. I see a lot of the mask mandates being lifted. And that's interesting to me, because number one, like I went into a space yesterday where people were, there were 3 people that I counted. And yes, I counted. I didn't say anything. I just kept my distance, because it was like, so I had to go to a store. Um, I had to go to a pharmacy, and there were people who didn't have their mask on. And I guess we're just going on the honor system if people are fully vaccinated. But I don't feel comfortable bringing my children to a place where people are not masked. Um, so I don't know. What do you think about that? I just feel like the rug was like pulled. We've been like, wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a mask. And then all of a sudden, you know, all of a sudden we say, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, which is true. But without any kind of like, how are stores managing that? How are communities managing that? I don't know. What do you think about that, Jennifer? The mask mandate being lifted?
I feel like when I seen it on the news, it was kind of a shock to me at first, because it's still a shock to me. Well, 1 second, sorry. Will you help get her some ice cream, please? Um, because I feel like it was just really confusing messaging. we went from like here to here, like within a matter of hours, and please help me. Please help me. I'm sorry about that. Second.
Hurry. Yeah, I feel that too. And I'm reading the comments. And if you're just joining us, welcome everyone. We are community health workers in the Portland area. This is Jennifer and I'm Shanoa, and we both work for Native Wellness Institute, and Jennifer wears many hats. And I'm seeing some comments about if I can say it, we ripped the Band-Aid off a wound too early and it's not healed yet. And I can agree with that totally. And people saying that they're gonna mask for another year. Honestly, I feel okay like wearing a mask for longer, because if you look at all of the other things that people didn't get, like they saw the numbers of people being tested positive for the flu went way down. And I don't even know if there have been any deaths from, or how many deaths there were, or how many cases, but I heard that it's like really, really low. And I don't have the exact numbers, so I'm not gonna put any false numbers out there, but I just know it was less. And it made me think two things. One was masks really do really help us to stay healthier from each other. And two, are we really that dirty?
I think. On the other sense, like I don't feel like anything changed, like because it still gives people the opportunity to make that choice for themselves and for their families, what they want to do. And most of our community has decided, like we're going to keep wearing our masks, and we're going to keep social distancing, and we're going to keep washing our hands, which are the basic steps to keeping us healthy. So that's kind of cool too, to see people like, step up and do what they need to do for themselves. So
yeah. And I'm seeing other comments too about people having asthma and getting the dose, and also the respect of it kind of shows like a certain level of respect for others, because knowing that our kids aren't able to get vaccinated, I think just wearing a mask. And with, I was going to mention earlier, we started talking about breakthrough, and then I have a habit of like going off into tangents. I'm sorry, that's my fault. But anyway, the breakthrough cases, they're seeing that there are more breakthrough cases in people who are older and also have other pre-existing conditions. We don't know exactly what how those breakthrough cases happen. Scientists haven't quite figured it all out, but they are seeing those things, like the same risk factors that have people at risk for serious complications of COVID are also the same risk factors of having those breakthrough cases. And so I feel like, although I will say, I know people who, and this is not gossip, this is just, I know people that are not in that, not in those risk factor umbrellas, that are healthy, that also had gotten sick from, and I don't know what vaccine they got, but they were fully vaccinated. And so that's why I'm like, well, maybe we should just kind of still continue to be as safe as we can, and be, as just watch out for each other and mask up. Thank you everyone who is continuing to mask up and be safe. And always wearing a mask during the cold and flu season, and that's awesome. And wearing a mask during Grand Entry, right on. I love it. I mean, like, I thought I see some pals advertising for like beaded mask contests, and I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Like, if I could like sit down and finish projects, I might make a beaded mask. I'm just so slow. anyway, yeah, stranger danger. Um, I was wondering, just to switch gears a little bit, what do you think, Jennifer? This is a hot topic. So this might cause controversy. What do you think about uh, school requirements once the vaccine is approved for all ages for youth to be vaccinated as a part of the requirement to be an in-person learning?
What do
What's
I think? What do I think about it?
what's your personal opinion?
Oh, you. um. Again, I think I don't know. I think that parents should have choices. I know that a lot of when people are anti-vax or whatever. I feel like how do I feel about this? I feel like everyone should have a choice. I feel like people are trying to do the best thing for their family members, especially their children, whether they vax or they don't vax. And um, I don't know. I don't. Would I send my children back to school if they were required? Most of my kids, the ones that are available to get vaccinations, have gotten it. So if my 7-year-old, that would be maybe a question you'd have to ask my co-parent. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of work that like brings up a whole nother subject about like public school and the systems around that. And I mean, I think the parents should have a choice. I think everyone should have a choice, but on the same sense, yeah, I think people, kids need to go back to school and they should be able to be safe too. So I don't know. That's it. Does anybody else have anything to say on that? I'm only one person. She just hit me with a loaded question.
And then boom, what do you think about mandates?
Yeah, mandates.
Put you on the spot there. I mean, I don't, honestly, I don't know either. I feel like I think we just almost need to give it a little bit of time for I don't think that rushing into it and requiring it might not be like the healthiest approach. And I think you're right. Like people do need to have a choice with their children. On the flip side, I will say let's look at measles as an example, and and you know having the MMR, the measles, mumps, rubella shot is supposed to be a required vaccine for children to be in school. But now there were people who were starting to have concerns over the vaccine, which haven't been scientifically proven. I'll just plug that. However, after people started what do you call it, there was the measles outbreak. Yeah. And so I guess i don't i don't I don't feel like it should be forced upon people. I just feel like there should be like a clear understanding of like um I think yeah, like you said, it opens up this whole other thing of like the inequity in our schools. The I mean, they're talking about people are opening up schools and they're like, okay, here's the recommendations. We need to have, open windows and good ventilation systems. And I'm like, half of these schools that, especially in communities where like they need new paint, like they need like the most inexpensive things, much less a whole ventilation system. And so I feel like it can't just be like the one like it can't just be the vaccine. It's got
ice cream.
um community effort to really improve our school system in general. um and so, and even if it's like, so I feel like it's just like, I feel like the vaccines are like the safest way for us to get out of the pandemic, get back to the sense of normal. But we can't just leave things the way they are. We really need to have I think we should spend more tax dollars on, not to get too political, more tax dollars on our schools, because our children are the ones who are going to be running everything.
Yeah.
And to have these.
That's if that's the solution to get our kids packed back into a classroom at 35 kids a classroom and without, you know, like programs like music and all that, then, you know, there's got to be other solutions for me, you know, like our money should be going to our schools, our money should be going to our child care centers and taking care of our kids, you know. That's how I feel about it, you know. I don't know, that should be the most important job, you know, is the kids.
Yeah.
And if that's the solution, then that tells me that there's something wrong with the system as a whole, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, you just open up a whole nother can right there with
Let's talk about the
a
education.
whole nother power hour.
And I do want to, you know, recognize that, you know, our, you know, as caregivers of our children, you know, we're the ones that need to be looking out for their best interests. And I don't know. I would like for my children to have the safest vaccines available. And if you are, I mean, I read a lot of news, and I like to see what else is going on in the world. And when I see places like what's happening in India right now, or in some other countries where people are waiting for hours in hopes that they'll just get one vaccine, one dose, I think we live in a place where we have access to something that can potentially get us out of this. Um, and the more of us that participate in it, even as adults, and as people who are willing to do that, the more we can, you know, be healthy. And when we talk about like herd immunity, like you know, I think a lot of people see it as like this goal of what we're gonna have. And herd immunity is like a build, it's more like a wellness scale. So it's like we're going to be getting to this place of um I don't think it's like a I don't think it's like, it's not like a race. Like we get there and then we finished. It's like constant work. And especially because we live in a planet that is huge and people are traveling all the time, and that's why we need to be helping other countries manage their COVID. It's so heartbreaking. And when I heard that out, you know, call up of people who are very, very sick and going to the hospital and without even access to an oxygen tank. That's all they needed. And they would, and people succumbing to the virus because they just couldn't get that one thing. And so it really makes me thankful that for the most part, you know, the United States, we have that as a blessing, that at least we have that. And so that's why that's why I'm glad that I got the vaccine, because I feel like it would have been a, I don't know, I'm just think it's like a healthy way to be helping in some small way. Sorry, that was a really long rant about problems of the world. um let's see what people are saying. The whole purpose of vaccines is to reduce symptoms, to prevent hospitalization and death. Interview folks who are fully vaccinated and experience minor symptoms. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that about the breakthrough cases. And I think that was another thing too, that folks are saying, well, I'm gonna get it anyways, and it's not that bad for us. But what I would say, or, you know, people look at the breakthrough cases and then they say, well, why bother? Because this recent study that was out by the CDC, again, like I said, it said that 91% of the people who are the mRNA, I'll read the whole thing. The CDC COVID-19 study shows that the mRNA vaccines reduce the risk of infection by 91% for fully vaccinated people. And in the article, in the study released, it says that they also had milder and shorter duration of illness. And so I know folks who have been really, really sick with COVID that, you know, it's a long, if you've ever had a fever, like a fever as an adult, like when you have a kid, you get fevers all the time. But like, I remember when I had pneumonia, I think it was like in 5 or 6 years ago, and I had my temperature was like 103.4 or something. And it's awful. You're like, your body is shaking, you feel freezing, but you're like, you can't warm up and you're like roasting hot, you're sweating. And this goes on for days. When I had pneumonia, it was only like, I think I was only feverish for like a couple of days. But with COVID, it's a long, it feels like an eternity for when you actually have, when you're feeling that awful. And so my prayers are always with those who are not just struggling with this virus themselves, but also who have lost loved ones, who have, you know, who are experiencing houselessness because of the pandemic and joblessness because of everything closing down. And so my prayers are with you all. Okay, I'm reading the comments again. What do we got? Oh, we've got people in BC watching. Right on. Hey, Rachel from BC. They got the Moderna. Awesome. I thought I saw someone saying, put it in the comments where you guys are logging in from. Where are you guys watching from? I can't see I can't see all of the comments as they're going. Why? Hold on. We're still going live, right? Do you need the app to like, oh good, we're still live. Okay. I just can't see all of the comments, and I'm really curious to know what people are thinking, and like, because like I can only see like 4 comments at a time, and I'm not able to like scroll up and down. Can you see it, Jennifer?
I can't. And then when I click on it, it
High components of
that happens. What a world that we live in today. What a trip. I can't believe we've been doing this for over, what now, 15 months, 16 months?
I figured it out. I'm so tech savvy. Just kidding.
Yeah.
You just have to hit the little mute button. But hey, Jenny Brixie, who's tuning in, says, I love this so much. Maybe we shouldn't have had 35 kids in the classroom to begin with. Thank you. Yes. I love that. And let's see, people, are you guys starting to comment where you guys are logging in from? Got BC, Northern California, right on. Oops, like everything just went blank. I'm just gonna let it load up. I don't know what happened. But thank you all for tuning in so far. Again, many thanks to the Seattle Urban Indian Health Institute for sponsoring this Wellness Power Hour hosted by the Native Wellness Institute. And we're on week 65. That's a long, long time. So if you, how many days is that? 65 weeks. Who has a calculator? Who can do this faster math than me? We're on 65 times, let's say, even if it's just 5. Okay, I know it's been more than 325, but there's been over let's say over 325 hours of wellness. So if you've tuned into most of the wellness power hours, kudos to you for you know, reaching out and trying to do your best to live your best life. That's awesome. Okay. Anyway, there was another thing that had come up, I think before, I think where I was starting to talk about with the kids is I asked about what you thought about, can schools require COVID vaccines for students? And the actual answer, according to the New York Times, that answer will depend on whether your child attends public or private schools. So private schools, daycare centers, and camps can decide whether or not to require students to be vaccinated against COVID as a requirement or condition of joining in. And so it says so far more than 100 colleges have announced that they will mandate vaccines before students can head to campus in the fall. So of course, the K through 12 schools, we're quite a ways out from that because it hasn't even been approved for the younger kids. That probably, from what I'm guessing, would they say not until like the fall time of 2021. So, oh yeah, sorry, I was trying to do the math here. But it's not my strong suit. And sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna say? Did you unmute? Were you gonna say something? Oh, okay. So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing, if you are getting your vaccine in the US, it is free. I think I know this for a fact that some pharmacies, I will not call out names because I don't want to get like some kind of lawsuit, but I know that some pharmacy areas are asking people's not just their name, but they're asking for their ID, asking for their insurance card, asking for their social security number. Yes, this happened to somebody that I know very well who was a minor. And I was like, for what? What do you need that information for? And then, they eventually like didn't worry about it because they don't need it. And so I don't know why they ask those questions, but if you are watching this and you're in a place and you have any kind of concerns, as far as I know, I don't think states, I don't think it's different in each state. I feel like it's not, but I know that they can't turn you away for not having those things, ID or insurance or social security number. Know your rights.
That's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why would you ask, a 14, 15, 16-year-old for their social security card and ID? Like, they don't carry ID. Just say this. I mean, unless they do. And maybe they have tribal ID, but still it doesn't, they don't have to require that.
How do you this is just a random question, but how do you feel about like the incentives that they're starting to do to get your vaccine? Like with Oregon, we have the lottery, and even for me, like it feels a little wonky sometimes to like offer incentives to get it, because like the incentive should be that you're taking care of yourself and your family and your community. But we all like incentives. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but sometimes for me personally, it feels a little weird to like, we're trying to like convince you or con you in some sort of way to get your vaccine, and in reality that's not what we are trying to do as a team. But how do you feel about that?
That's a really good question. I know of the person who did that. I believe they were a public health student, professor. Someone was Stanford University, I believe. They had like come up with this idea that like they they didn't come up with the idea. They just pitched the idea to some, I think it might have been some public officials and leaders about, you know, the carrot. What do they say? Like the carrot is more convincing than the stick, something like that. Like when they're talking about horses, you know, they want to entice the horse with the carrot versus like animal abuse, I guess. And so I think that was the idea behind it, was that people are wanting more, are more enticed by the positive incentives than trying to scare them. So I think maybe initially people were talking about like the scare tactic of like, I mean, I feel like there are there's like a certain level of fear on either side to get or not to get the vaccine. For me, I try not to live my life in fear, but I felt like the positive thing about getting the vaccine was that, like you said, the benefit of staying healthy and the benefit of being around for my children and for my family, and protecting my the elders in my life or who I come in contact with. And so I don't, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like trying to win. So I will not complain if I win that money. However, I can understand why some it would look like suspicious to folks, but I don't think the idea in any way is meant to like con anyone. And I think that's the feeling that some folks get. And I think if you're already feeling like the distrust, and it's gonna feel more like dang, well now why are they trying to do that? That's fishy. And you know, some of that I feel like could possibly be rooted in trauma. And that is why and I don't know for sure, you know, we all have our own ways of thinking and nobody fits into a single box. So I know from a like a public health standpoint, I think it was just an incentive to get folks to you know, because it's, you know, it's a motivator. And we are in a pandemic where millions of people have been impacted, a global pandemic where millions of people have been impacted financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Like this is like had like probably, I mean, we've never lived through anything like this before. And I think that they're just trying to be multi I was gonna say multifaceted. Is that the right way to say it? Like, you know, they're trying all these multifaceted approaches to dealing with encouraging, because we need more people. The more people who get vaccinated, the more that like herd immunity works, and the less number of cases, not only for people who are not vaccinated, but also less cases for breakthrough, less opportunities for breakthrough cases as well.
I you I think our team, we have been through we have tried to think about every aspect of this from the very beginning, like how we were going to support our community and while supporting ourselves, right, as community health workers, and not like be pushy or shaming or anything like that. And you also touched on something that's really important too, like as a student and someone that has to do research, you know, when we're looking for, we're going to find what we're looking for. So if we're looking for reasons not to, or for negative reasons, like we're going to find those reasons. So I just like challenge everyone that might have doubts or that might have fears to like maybe just try to find some positives or to search for reasons why, you know. We're here to support you in whatever way we can. We want you to make the best choices for yourself and your families. And we don't always know the answers and we don't always know how to support people, but that's why we're here. We're here to learn and to grow together and to get through this together. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. No, that's so good. Like, and I think you're right. Like, and we are here for you guys. We're here for each other, and definitely there's no shame or blame. And you know, I think that like I said, the vaccine is really I know it's a hot topic, and it makes people feel uncomfortable. But it is the safest way to get us back into, hugging our elders safely, to powwows, to singing safely without uh, spewing like droplets everywhere in the aerosols. like it's so weird thinking about it in that way, because then it's like now you can't watch any singing videos without like, well, I don't know, I'm sure probably a lot of people can watch singing videos without it going through their mind, but I have a hard time like, look at all the droplets. Seeing all of the things. And so I just feel like the vaccine it is safe. If you're wondering like how it works, you can look it up on the CDC website. On the New York Times has a whole section on how the vaccine works. Most of the public health, for each state, they'll have public health, what are they called, the public health authorities for each state. Most of them will have like a breakdown of it, of how it works. But basically, with the Pfizer, they you get an injection in the arm, and it has a messenger molecule. So it's not DNA, it's mRNA. It's a messenger. It's like a little sign, it's like carrying a little. That's how I think of it, messenger. I'm like, he's like, hi, I'm messenger RNA. That's how I remember things, because I'm a visual. So laugh. Anyway, and it's packed in like this little oily bubble that fuses to a cell, and then the cell uses the mRNA as a set of instructions to make something, and that cell makes a spike protein. And so then the spike protein, and spike proteins, they like it's like the image that you see on the not the cartoons, it's not a cartoon, like on the images, right, that we see of with the COVID, the little, that's why it's called coronavirus, is because it looks like a crown, and corona in Spanish is crown. So anyway, so those little spikes that pop out, and so your immune system recognizes that spike protein as a foreign invader, and then it attacks it. And then so the vaccine like trains your immune system to recognize that attack. And so when we do come in contact with the virus, because it's probably, it's so prevalent everywhere that we go, then our body will recognize it and say, this is what we need to do. That's why we get those side effects when we get the side effects of the, like, especially with the second dose. The reason why you get the side effects more on your second dose is because your body is going, oh, I remember this, dude, something's trying to get in your body. We need to turn on immune system. And everybody experiences the side effects differently. Like some people just get like the sore arm. Some people get the headache, flu-like symptoms. And honestly, I was really scared on the second dose. Like the night before, I was like so nervous. I was like, what if I I don't know, what if I throw up? I hate throwing up. I was like freaking out. But then I was like, okay, drink my water. So I drank my water. I drank some, electrolytes. I drank my, stayed hydrated. I rested and I prayed. And it was like, medicine, please come into the body and help my body recognize it. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think our video might be off. Are we still live?
It's still on.
Oh, okay.
I was you just keep making me think of different things. I was talking to a coworker last night about youth who are choosing to get vaccinated now, right? And how I wonder how much social media and stuff and other people's views on the vaccine plays into them like, with us, we're like, oh, am I feeling sick? do it, you know, you like you start tripping on it, right? And you're like, and you make yourself sick over it. I wonder how much like social media and people's views play into people's, you know,
Mhm.
am I making sense? Like
Yes.
if you don't have that, I wonder if like you even how much of like an effect it will have on you,
Yeah.
really. Because like my son, he didn't really complain of anything after he got his, you
Mhm.
know, and I sat there and I was like the same thing I was talking about, looking for symptoms versus thinking, you know what, I'm healthy, I'm fine, my body knows what it's doing, like having faith, you know, and not worrying about it. Does
I
that make any sense?
Yes, you're so on point on there because I think on in the medical community they would put that as psychosomatic, and I hate that. But it's what all it means is like you like, or the worst is hypochondriac. I hate that because it's so labeling and manipulative. But anyway, I feel like it's, yeah, like it's like where you put in your energy, right? And so I felt like that too. Like, and then after I started like kind of doing my self-care um prayers, and like, and we smudged and drank my water, and like, and I was like, I'm okay, I'm actually okay. And what was it, what did they say? I'm totally forgetting his name right now. I apologize, but 90% of your fears are never realized. And when I remind myself of those, and for me, I've said this before, and those of you who watch every episode, I'm sorry for my repeats, because I guess I'm getting to elder stage, and I'm just trying to share these stories. And this is how we learn by repeating. But for me, it's 95% of my fears are never realized because I think of a lot of things that could go wrong. And then I got to stop and I got to say, this is probably in that 95th percentile. And I'm looking for something, like you said, I'm looking for like, is my body weird? And I'm like, wait, my body's fine. Like right here, right now, everything is fine. And you all, like, if you're watching this, no matter where you're at, where you're at, you can do that wherever you're at. Take a deep breath. Be thankful for, whatever it is. Think of the things that you are thankful for, and say, right here, right now, everything is fine.
Yeah.
And
Really
that's
plug into that traditional wisdom, you know, and using that water and all those things that we know how to do to take care of ourselves is so important. Yeah.
Mhm. And then, and I think about all of the people who really made sacrifice for us to be here. Like, I think every person that who is native that I know has been impacted by, so many relatives we've lost through historical things, and not that far off in history. Some of us, have had parents or grandparents who really lived, survived a lot and thrived for us, and they prayed for us. And I think about that, and then I'm like, man, and I think about some of the stories I heard growing up, and I'm like, man, we live in this day and age where we have a lot to be thankful for, and we can keep doing better, we can keep healing, and we can keep giving those gifts to our children of healing. And so do what's best for you all. That's my unsolicited advice. But do what's best for you, and think of, like, use your prayers, like Jennifer said, tap into your traditional teachings and wisdom. And I don't know, do you have any closing remarks?
Um, no, just thank you everybody for being here. And I hope you guys have a really awesome Father's Day. Just keep wearing your masks, social distance, and wash your hands.
I think
We'll get through this.
20 seconds with soap, get the bubbles. So yes, happy Pride Month, happy father, parent, grandparent, etc. day, happy Happy Tuesday. I hope you all are healthy and well, and do what Jennifer said. And O'o Shabid Tabu Chad. I have love and compassion for you all. Boy up, Chad. We are finished.